lot of stuff, they rip stuff down. A lot of things that aren't here anymore. There used to be a lot of places for a homeless person to sneak in, or a little spot in between houses. How you doing? How's my little girl? Tell her I said hi. I'm a recovering addict with 10 years clean, and I have been homeless for I'm trying to count the years. It's been a lot of years. I'm going to say 15 years offhand. And throughout those years, even though I was homeless, I've been trying to also help other homeless people that are out here with me. There is such a need for women on the street to get help. There's women that are prostituting themselves because they were a drug addict and nobody would help them. They just need somebody to love them, to care. And because somebody doesn't care, they don't care. And they turn to drugs and prostitute themselves and get beat up. I've been on the street. I had my teeth, finally I had my teeth all fixed. And then I was attacked. And now I gotta get them fixed again because they knocked my teeth out. It's very dangerous on the street. We need people to care because the police do not care. They do not care. They think it's a joke. They think because we've gone to crazy measures to try to help ourselves. They think that we're garbage, that we're trash. That, well, screw them, they're gonna die anyway, so they don't care. We need people in the community to build. My parents sent me to Catholic school, St. Helena's in Edison. And we still didn't have a lot of money at that time. And the school was very expensive. And my parents took everything they had to send me and my brother to the Catholic school. And all the other kids that went to that school were rich. All their parents had money. And, you could tell by what shoes they wore and what I wore, their coats, their book bags. You could tell the difference. And they had cliques and groups, and I had best friends, 2 best friends, and I thought, we did everything together, and then I found out they were going and doing things without me. And not just without me, but their mothers would hang out. And they were excluding my mom, too. And I guess they didn't want to ask because they knew we didn't have the money to do it. It was just very hard. But when I got to public school, that's when everybody wore whatever they want and things changed. And that's kind of where I went a little wild. And I think that's when I started releasing all that I held in all them years in Catholic school from just hearing people talk and say things. Now I'm in a public school where jeans and a t-shirt at that time were what a lot of people wore, and stuff. So I fit in. And that's when parties, everybody was going to parties, and that's where I became rebellious. Like I liked being out and hanging out because then I didn't have to deal with things at home. My parents were starting to argue a lot at home because of the money issues and everything. And then I wasn't coming home on time. So all that kind of spindled, you know. So then after a while, I left home. Me and my dad started fighting really bad, and it was causing bad problems with my mom. So I left, and they let me leave because it was me. They let me leave. But I left, and it was actually the worst thing I could have did because when I left, my parents were only trying to tell me right, and I wouldn't listen. You know, they said no matter what, you gotta go to school, because I didn't want to go to school no more. You know, and they would just, you gotta go to school and do the right thing. I didn't want to go to school, and I took off, and then I got involved in drugs, alcohol, started drinking alcohol, smoking marijuana. And when they say it leads into other things, it does. And it did. And when it did, that's where it destroyed my life. I wasn't doing it at work, but outside of work I was, and it was affecting my job. I was showing up late every day, calling out, leaving early, and then eventually I ended up getting called to the office, and when I got to the office, there were 2 police officers in there who arrested me right in front of my boss because I had a warrant for my arrest because I didn't go to court. I had missed court. And I was supposed to go to court because I had gotten arrested for possession of marijuana, which I had asked the officers, not thinking, right in front of my boss, what is this about? What was I arrested for? What's the charge? And then right in front of my boss, they said possession of marijuana. So that kind of right there, yeah, my boss wasn't too happy. And it was kind of a shame because I was really good at my job. And my supervisor had wrote down in recommendation that if he should ever quit or be fired, that I take his place as supervisor. Because I actually loved the job. What we did was we turned softcover books into hardcover books. And we delivered to all the schools. I don't know if at that time maybe even delivered to Rutgers. Probably made books that students were reading. So it was a great job, but I ruined that with drugs. So that's why, again, I encourage people not to do it. I'm going to use the bathroom in here, which is another problem too. Little luxuries just as having to use the bathroom, something we take for granted. But when you have to go and there's nowhere to go, you realize how nice it is to have your own bathroom when you got to find one. Or if you can't find one and you're outside and you have no choice but to go outside. That's like the most humiliating thing in the world. Well, one of the things.
Elias Promise happens to be the hub for the homeless because why? Because of food. So food is like the reward or kind of like the carrot. So folks come in and we basically become like their home. We try to make it as comfortable and as clean as possible so that they can feel welcome.
They got lunchtime, 11 to 12, and then dinner, 6 to 7. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know what people would do. Because there's people that the only time they eat is when they come here. That's it. That's it. They missed the kitchen. I've seen people that they were trying to work, like they'd bump into somebody that said, "Do you want to work for the day?" They'd go work and then be trying to make it back here in time to eat. And they'd miss the kitchen. And I've seen men like actually get all upset, like, because they worked all day, but the guy wanted them to come back for tomorrow work, so they didn't get paid yet. And they'd missed lunch because they were working and were counting on dinner and then missed dinner. And if they're working, they were starving, knowing, and they got to work tomorrow. So, but for a lot of people, if it wasn't for this kitchen, I don't know what they would do.
Jill has been a part of the family or a client since I started working here. Now, I worked and started working here since 2002. So that's approximately 10 years I know Jill.
See, homelessness is not something that's just to people. It's to animals too. And I'm an animal lover, and I believe that animals have the right to eat, just like people do. They're God's creatures. They're babies, my girls. Especially her, she gotta eat, she's pregnant. Yeah, big mama, right? You went and got yourself in trouble. As they'd say on the street, she's knocked up. Excuse me. There you go, sweeties. And it's sad because there are some horrible things. Unfortunately, she had 3 babies before. 2 of them, fortunately, there was some really nasty kids in the back, and they did some horrible things to them. And we found the cats, 2 kittens, laying in the back with both their stomachs. And you could tell they did it with cut their stomachs. And they probably did it while they were alive, and then just left them laying there dead. I know it's a horrible thing to hear, but these are things that happen. These are things that have happened to people out here. Like I said, it's very dangerous. Safety is a big issue on the street. And if there has to be a way, I believe there is a way to get people, like I said, from being homeless. We just need people to stick together. And that it's hard to do that, to get everybody just to band together. All this fighting, all this hating that everybody's doing in this world, if we took all that energy that we put into fighting and hating each other and just put it into love and helping each other, this would be a beautiful world. We wouldn't have all these problems. Why is it that people gotta kill somebody because they want their sneakers? That's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. For a pair of sneakers? Jesus, when you die, you leave with nothing but your soul. So why is something like that so important that you gotta kill somebody for it? It makes absolutely no sense. No sense. None. Being homeless is hard all the time. But in the summertime, you could sleep in a lot of places because you're not freezing. So that's when we'd sleep in the graveyard. And that's where I said, and I was actually sleeping in the graveyard with my boyfriend at the time, who was 6'4". He was right next to me. And like I said, when you're homeless, you only get an hour here, an hour there of sleep. And when you get so exhausted, when you finally do lay down and go to sleep, you're like in a hard, dead sleep. And I was sleeping in the graveyard with my boyfriend, and that's when this Mexican came in. He actually moved me away from him, and I was still sleeping and didn't even feel it because I was so dead asleep. Moved me, and the next thing I actually feel him on top of me, kissing me, and then I'm like, I thought it was my boyfriend, and then I reached up and felt the head and felt the hair, and that's when I opened my eyes, and it was a Mexican on top of me, and that's when I grabbed him, and I threw him off of me and jumped up and started screaming to my boyfriend, because he had my pants. He was trying to get my pants undone and was kissing me at the same time. I tried to wake him up, and he's trying to wake up because he was in a dead sleep. And I jumped up. I had no shoes on. I had my socks on. When I threw him off, he got up, started running. I ran after him. I was running in my socks. I ran over glass. My feet were all cut up on the bottom. I ran behind the library trying to chase him, trying to catch him. What I was going to do when I caught him, I don't know. But I was trying to catch him. This film, I hope that people will be more aware. I've seen homeless people get teased with people standing there making fun of them because maybe they smell bad or they don't have on the clothes that they're supposed to. Well, not that they're supposed to, but that everybody's wearing or anything. And if you see somebody like that, instead of making fun of them, why not, give them some soap or, say something kind to them to help them. All that talking and criticism does just hurts them more because you're not telling them anything they don't know. And they know they stink. They know, they know what they look like. Maybe try to say something kind or offer help or, I know you don't want to hand somebody money because you don't know that they're going to just go and blow it on drugs. But, instead maybe say, hey, look, I'll take you to Burger King and buy you a cheeseburger. Little things mean a lot to people. And it's just little things like that is a start and is a beginning. There's a lot of great things we could do, like I said. And I share that with these babies too. I talk to them when I get stressed out. This is who I talk to. Because they always listen and they never talk back. But they're good cats. They don't bother nobody.